This honestly feels like one of those PGA Championship weeks that reminds you just how brutal major championship golf really is. Because today, we've got two huge stories coming out of Aronimink, and both of them are the kind of stories that can completely change the conversation around one of the biggest names in golf right now. One story is about what happened on the course. And trust me, it was ugly to watch at times. But the second story might actually be even bigger than the missed cut itself. Because what happened after the round left players, reporters, and fans talking all over social media, and you could genuinely feel the tension explode in that room. And honestly, as PGA Tour fans, these are the moments that become way bigger than just one tournament. This starts affecting narratives, confidence, pressure, majors, legacies, and everything around a player. So before we get into all of it, if you love PGA Tour news, real fan reactions, and honest golf conversations every single week, hit that like button and subscribe to PGA Tour Today. We're trying to reach our first 10,000 subscribers. And if you're the type of fan who lives for major championship drama like this, you're definitely in the right place. So let's start with the first big story. And honestly, this was shocking to watch unfold because Bryson DeChambeau came into this PGA Championship as one of the betting favorites, and by Friday afternoon, he was already packing his bags and leaving Aronimink early. Bryson finished the first two rounds at 7 over par after rounds of 76 and 71, which left him tied for 112th place. And at a major championship, that's nowhere close to surviving the cut line. Only the top 70 players and ties made it to the weekend, and Bryson never really looked comfortable out there. The crazy thing is, Friday almost turned into a complete disaster for him. For most of the round, he looked frustrated, disconnected, and honestly just lost with parts of his game. The iron play wasn't sharp, the consistency off the tee disappeared at key moments, and every time it felt like he might build momentum, another mistake showed up. Then suddenly, way too late, he caught fire. Bryson finished with 3 straight birdies on Friday, and for a few moments you could almost feel fans thinking, wait, is he actually going to pull this off? But the damage had already been done. The rally came too late, and even though he managed to shoot one over on Friday instead of completely imploding, it still wasn't enough to save his tournament. And he wasn't the only big name heading home early either. Billy Horschel missed the cut. Tyrrell Hatton missed the cut. Gary Woodland missed the cut. Jacob Bridgman missed the cut. Even Michael Block, who became one of the biggest fan favorites in recent PGA Championship history, couldn't survive the weekend this time. Meanwhile, there were a few incredible survival stories too. Cam Smith finally made a weekend at a major championship again for the first time in nearly 2 years. That's honestly a huge story that people are not talking about enough. The LIV golf star had missed the cut in his previous 6 straight major starts, so just seeing him grind his way through at Aronimink mattered a lot for his confidence and reputation. And Michael Kim probably gave us the most dramatic moment of Friday. He needed a huge finish to make the cut line, and instead of barely sneaking in with a simple birdie, he chipped in for eagle on the final hole of his round. The place absolutely erupted. He technically only needed birdie to survive, but the eagle chip-in made it one of those unforgettable major championship moments fans love. At the top of the leaderboard, Alex Smalley and Maverick McNeely were leading at 4 under par heading into the weekend, but the leaderboard is incredibly crowded. There's a massive group sitting at 3 under, including Hideki Matsuyama and Aldrich Potgieter, who actually briefly held the lead earlier Friday. Scotty Scheffler stayed right in the mix too. After entering Friday with a share of the lead, Scotty finished the day at 2 under overall and still looks incredibly dangerous heading into the weekend. And then there's Rory McIlroy. Honestly, Rory's response after Thursday might have been one of the most important performances of the entire championship so far. After calling his opening round bad, Rory came back Friday and fired a 3 under 67 to safely make the cut at 1 over overall. And that matters because we all know how much pressure follows Rory at every major right now. One bad round and the entire golf world starts panicking about him again. But instead of collapsing, he fought back and gave himself a chance heading into the weekend. Now here's where this entire situation gets even more intense. Because after Bryson DeChambeau missed the cut, things somehow got even uglier during his press conference Friday evening. At first, Bryson actually seemed calm. He admitted he simply didn't execute well enough and openly talked about struggling with his iron play and consistency off the tee. He even said something that honestly felt very real for major championship golf. The game feels close, but in majors, if you're even a little off, you get exposed quickly. And honestly, he wasn't wrong. That's exactly why majors are different. At regular events, you can survive being slightly off. At majors, small mistakes become tournament killers immediately. But then the entire atmosphere changed. One reporter asked Bryson if LIV Golf had made him a less consistent player and questioned whether playing on LIV was hurting his ability to compete at the highest level after another disappointing major performance. The room reportedly went completely silent, and Bryson absolutely hated the question. You could tell immediately he was furious. He tightened his jaw, leaned into the microphone, and fired back hard. He called the question ridiculous and reminded everyone that he won the US Open not that long ago and has contended in more majors than most players in professional golf. And honestly, this is where the conversation around Bryson gets really complicated. Because whether fans love him or hate him, he does have a point here. Every time a LIV player struggles, people immediately turn it into another LIV ruined their game debate. But when Bryson was contending in majors recently, especially at the US Open, a lot of those same critics suddenly went quiet. Bryson even said that when LIV players finish near the top of majors, nobody talks about it. But the second one misses a cut, people push the LIV effect narrative again. He called it lazy analysis. And you could feel the frustration building more and more as the press conference continued. According to multiple reporters in the room, Bryson's answers became shorter, colder, and increasingly tense after that exchange. Then, another reporter tried asking about his recent struggles under pressure in major championships. Bryson paused, shook his head, stood up from the podium, and simply said, "I'm done here." Then he walked out of the interview room early while reporters still had unanswered questions. And instantly that became one of the biggest talking points of the entire afternoon at Aronimink. Because now, this story is no longer just about a missed cut. Now, people are questioning Bryson's confidence, his mental state, his consistency in majors, the LIV golf conversation, and whether the pressure surrounding him is starting to build again after another frustrating major performance earlier this season at the Masters. And honestly, this is why the next few months are going to feel massive for Bryson DeChambeau's career narrative. Because talent has never been the issue. Nobody questions his ability. The problem is that when expectations become this high, every missed cut suddenly feels 10 times bigger, especially when you're one of the most polarizing stars in all of golf. And for PGA Tour fans, this is exactly the kind of storyline that makes major championship season feel different from every other part of the year. One bad Friday can completely change the conversation around a player. Now I want to hear from you guys. Do you think Bryson overreacted during that press conference? Do you think the LIV golf criticism is fair? And after this PGA Championship, do you still see him as a serious major contender for the rest of the season? If you enjoyed the video, make sure to like it and drop your thoughts in the comments, because these conversations are what make golf fandom so fun right now. And if you're new here, subscribe to PGA Tour Today. The channel is still growing. We're pushing toward our first 10,000 subscribers. And if you love honest PGA Tour discussions from real golf fans, you're going to love being part of this community.